Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you my dividend tracker, and this is the document that I follow every single day to know how far along I am in my journey to financial independence. My goal is to retire by the age of 45 at the latest. I am currently 34 years old, turning 35 years old later this year, and I have a plan that I'm going to show you here. The assumptions that I use also are on this in this document, and I will show you how I change them to vary my expectations and my projections for the future. So there are different tabs here, and my goal is to show you how we can track the journey to financial independence. I hope you find this video useful. So let's get right into it. So this is my Google sheet, or actually my Excel sheet that I have on my device that has different tabs. What you can see here is the main tab, which is called the Dividend Portfolio Simulation. This is where I track my income year over year, as well as my total return and my yearly returns. I also have a section where I can project the year where I will decide to retire and how much income I'm going to generate with my dividend portfolio. I will give you more details later, but for now I'm just going to show you all the tabs. So to build this tab, I have different tabs that give input. The first one is basically my dividend cash inflows simulator, and the hypothesis here is all my projections in terms of salary, in terms of expenses, in terms of holidays, and basically this can give me a projection of my income, monthly income and yearly income based on different assumptions. So you have here, for example, the yearly dividend reinvestment scenarios. You have the base case where I basically have a normal year at work and my bonus is just an average one. A good case where I can increase my base bonus because of good performance. I work in sales, and my bonus is dependent on my performance and my company's performance in terms of sales and profitability. And then there is another scenario of a great case, which can give me here a number about how much I can reinvest every month. This number also includes assumptions about my options income. So options are an important portion of my reinvestment plan. Of course, I try to reinject all my bonuses, any savings that I can have from my day job, but also options income. I have discovered options at the end of 2024. It was a little bit just by luck. I was looking into ways to make maybe 50 or $100 a month with the bull put spreads and the credit spreads and the iron condors. I just stumbled upon some videos on YouTube and I started dabbling in it. And 2025 was a year where I actually was planning to completely switch from dividend investment to options income trading, and it comes that it's actually very volatile, especially in years like a year of the tariffs, or actually any other year where you always have a big drop on the market of 10% or more because of geopolitical events, because of political, economic, financial situations. And I thought that the relying on options for income, and especially when you have a family and kids that you want to see grow in good conditions, options are not my preferred option. They don't want to say options twice, but it is not my preferred solution to build a safe and passive income. But still, I keep a certain portion, about 10 to 15% of my current portfolio, to trade options, mainly cash secured puts, and when I have to hold some stocks, I also do covered calls. And so far, the results have been very good. So you see here that I make on average $689. This is only tracking since I decided to switch back to dividend investments and using like 10 to 15% of my current portfolio in options income. Current month is very good. So January 2026, I have made so far $1,300 in in options income, and I plan to improve my skill in options investing and options income trading to fuel into my dividend reinvestment. I think you guessed it from my accent so far. I am a French resident, and here you have pretty high tax rate. You see that dividends are, as of today, taxed at 30%, but it could go as high as 33% in the future because of politicians who want to have fun siphoning and taking money from anyone who makes extra cash. But there are also plans like the French equivalent of I think the Roth IRA or the savings plans that you have in North America or other countries in Europe or any other country that has savings plans. So I am allowed to inject up to 150,000 euros into this account, and that would reduce my effective tax rate that then shows in on this cell in my dividend portfolio simulator. So just a few words about the French tax simulation. Then I have one tab that I sometimes keep, sometimes don't use much. I just want to have one space where I track once in a while my dividend portfolio in this Excel sheet just for history's sake. And here I have also one tab where I track, this is not an input tab, it's more of an output tab where I can see on the same Excel document my projections in terms of dividend income. And you can see here that since 2025 I have seen a spike in dividend income because I reshuffled my portfolio into dividends, and I plan to stick to it now and all the way to my retirement in about 10 years. And you can see that the big spikes are for 2026. Like I said in my previous video, I'll be very happy this year because I'm going to start reaching about $1,000 US in dividend income, especially in the month of June and July, which is very, very good news. And I'm very excited about that. I also have one tab where I track my options income. This is something that I use once in a while, but it's not the most important one. The important ones are actually here. And I will take some time to take you through the assumptions and then show you my projections as well as my FIRE tables. So what I use is basically the assumption of a monthly investment in US dollar. I have an assumption of yearly growth of my monthly investments, and this is based on projections that I estimate in terms of increase of my salary. So I project that I would be increased in my salary on about 4% every year on average over the next 10 years, including promotions. So the average increase is between 1 to 2.5%, but with promotions, the CAGR would be about 4% every year. Here we have assumptions on dividend yield, dividend growth per year, and max dividend yield. The dividend yield and the growth is based on my dividend tracker apps. So I use Div Tracker and Stock Events, and basically these are pretty conservative assumptions in terms of dividend growth, and the dividend yield is pretty high in my standard because I use also some covered call ETFs, and I plan to stick to around 5 to 5.5% of dividend yield, no more, because I also want to benefit from principal growth, which I would like to estimate at about 8% every year, which would bring my total return when you do dividend yield and principal growth every year to about 13 to 14%. I know it's a lot, but I would like to have this as a target and an assumption. And I don't mind actually not having as much principal growth, because my goal is not to build a big cash amount in my brokerage or my bank account, but to increase the dividends. So if I have to prioritize anything, it would be the dividend growth, but also the tax rate. And this is why I invest in my savings account. What you see here on the table is basically a projection from 2025. I actually started investing in dividend stocks in 2022, but my tracking was not very accurate at that time. And to be frank, the numbers were very small. I know it would be too bad in the future to not know exactly where I started from and knowing where I plan to get, but maybe in the future you will see the previous years as well before 2025. And I pushed this projection all the way to 2045, so about a 20-year span. with basically, to simplify, for every year an opening balance and an end balance, and in between basically some projections about the dividend income at the end of every year, the dividend yield, the yield on cost, the principal growth, the capital additions that are based on the assumption that you saw here, as well as the total invested to date and the tax to be paid. And all this information, to show you in simple way, would give me basically a net yearly dividend when I subtract the dividends. That can be my basis to know what I am actually making every year when I remove all the taxes. And then two columns that show my gross monthly dividend income at the end of each year and my net monthly dividend at the end of each year. So for 2025, I made about $583 every month in dividends, and it was really a lifesaver in terms of expenses when we traveled with my family, but also when I had some tough months. And I feel that this feeling would be better and better every year because the projections that you see are very encouraging. In blue, you have years of milestones, so multiples of 5. I will be 35 this year, so I marked the income for this year in blue. And my plan is that by the end of this year, I'll make $814 on average in dividend income every month before tax. And $688 after tax. And by the time I turn 40, if my assumptions are correct, I plan to reach about $2.8 thousand in monthly dividend income, which would amount to $2.3 thousand in net monthly income. And by the time I turn 45, which is hopefully the latest that I would work in a day job before I retire, my current assumptions take me to about $6.5 thousand in gross monthly dividend income. But it's not over, because I also have, and that's something I showed you in a previous video, I have a savings plan with my current employer that allows me to also build capital in another stream of investment. And basically the day I retire, I plan to take that money, pay the tax because we live in France, and after the tax is paid, re-inject all that money into my dividend portfolio. And basically my real number, the one that can help me project how much I would make in monthly dividend income by the time I retire, is on this column number X. So here you have an assumption about the year. I also think that by the time I decide to retire, I will re-inject my dividend, rewire my dividend portfolio into higher yielding stocks and ETFs, although I know that it will give me a lower growth. But if I stop in 2031, so my number would be monthly income of $3.8 thousand every month, compared to $2.8 thousand if I don't account for all the investment that I will re-inject from my savings account, and if I don't account for the higher dividend yield. If I retire by 2036, which is when I turn 45, I'm going to make, based on the current assumptions, $9.5 thousand in dividend income. These numbers sounds too big to be true to me, even today, even if I track this portfolio every single day and I can see that the results are already showing and are actually similar to the projections that I had made in the past. But I am very optimistic, and this keeps me motivated to work, motivated to take care of my family and project a future where we are free from work and we can do whatever we want. I hope that my assumptions are correct. If you see anything that you would like to advise me to do on this table, please do so. If you've been that far into the video, thank you very much. I would love any feedback that anyone can give me here. But my assumptions are very encouraging to me. I am probably dreaming about a number that I may not be able to achieve, but maybe future me will prove me wrong and tell me that I actually was very realistic, if not that I underestimated the potential of the compounding effect. So that's it for this video. It was a bit lengthy and I wanted to go a bit more in detail in my dividend portfolio tracker, but I love making these videos because I take a lot of pleasure in sharing what I know, and I'm also eager to discuss with anyone that can give me any advice, but also build a community of like-minded people that are also trying to free their time. I learned recently that, actually realized recently that 38 or 40 years old, it is the middle age because the average lifespan is 80 years, 75 to 80 years. And when we look at the plans that governments give us of retiring at 65, they actually offer us to retire just a few years before we die on average. So I want to fight this. I want to find a community that also fights this idea of working until 60 or 65, and I want to build a community that can encourage each other to do so. So thank you very much if you watched this far in the video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.